How's it going, everybody? I am Preston Johnson. Welcome to Last Word Cheetah, brought to you by Bets TV.
As a general philosophy.
That's exactly right. You're a fish.
Qwan, by the way, my producer, Qwan Young, doing a good job. He'll be taking the calls. How you doing today, bud?
Hey, man, how are you?
We appreciate you guys tuning in. Welcome to the show, Bets TV, bringing you Last Word Cheetah. How's it going, everybody? Welcome to Last Word Cheetah, brought to you by Bets TV. I am Preston Johnson, hanging here in studio with Qwan Young. It is a lovely Tuesday. I say this every Tuesday. For some reason, it is Qwan's favorite day of the week when we did our power ratings for all 7 days. Doesn't make any sense, but he's happy. I'll be happy too, except for all of our callers yesterday lost. If you guys recall, at the end of June, we're doing our monthly giveaway. We have callers that call in. They tell us what their favorite plays are or try to win to get on our leaderboard. They can potentially cash in. It'll be at least $700 at the end of this month to whoever's on top. The end of June, they called in. Over a 2-day period, they went 1-14. I don't recall off the top of my head how many different callers there were yesterday, 6 or 7. But they all lost. There were a few that I think lost Friday as well. So you guys are on probably an 0-8, 0-9 run. I know some of you are trying to hit some parlays to try to jump and hit Ty and Sarab there in the top 2 spots. Good luck, but no one's really hit one yet. I've been kind of surprised. I even was following because Tone went for that 50-1 shot. And I had misremembered it because there were so many parlays, different callers, which was who. And I actually started going through what I thought were his 5. And I thought he went 4-1, with the only loss being the Nationals. They were all 5 money line underdogs, and they only lost by 1 run. It was a close game. So I thought he barely missed, and then I ended up looking. He went like 1-4. I don't know why. I just had missed. Anyways, maybe he was 2-3, but regardless, he wasn't actually close. We need W's today, so you guys can call in at 661-515-BETS. Those from the Game Plus Network, we welcome you as well. If you've never called in before, phone lines are open. We just talk through some of your bets, what you like, or you can try to take a shot, win some cash from us this month. We're going to talk more ACC football later on the show. Qwan, I don't know if you have any stories to tell. I have a pretty cool story to kind of kick this off. It's unique. It's all brand new. It's kind of all happened in the last couple of days, but it's pretty fun. It's not necessarily betting related, but it's sports related, and it has to do with some card collecting. So, and I've actually told Qwan part of this already. So I had a leak in my house. Saturday morning, we woke up, and there was water just flooded our living room everywhere. We're like, what in the world? There was like a pinhole leak in a pipe, and it had like sat behind the wall and finally just like rushed through. And anyway, so we had to call someone out, like a home restoration company. What was funny was 2 weeks before this, I had met someone from Twitter for dinner, him and his friend. They bought, and they're owners of the Punks comic NFT project that I co-created with some guys, and they just wanted to hang out and meet and talk NFTs. And one of them had mentioned, oh, you live down in this area. Like, yeah, the pipes there, they always start going out around now. It's been about 20 years since the house was built, or 18 or 19 years. And then sure enough, it happened. So I'm like, hey, maybe I should just reach out to this guy, though. He was really nice. And so sure enough, and he told his friend, he's like, yeah, maybe he can pay me in Punk's comic, which we'll see if it works out or not. But it was pretty funny to like try to do this deal. So anyway, he kind of organizes this company, but he has someone else that does the dirty work, this kid named Cody. He comes by yesterday, checks some stuff out because they've been running these DHU like fans to like basically dry everything out. It's a mess. They're really loud. My kids are waking up at like 6 a.m. because, oh, the fans are too loud. I couldn't go back to sleep. It hasn't been pleasant. But this kid, Cody, he comes up to me near the end. He's like, hey, do your kids like comic books? Like, I have a 6-year-old daughter and a 4-year-old son. Like, they're not quite into comic books yet, but I was like, I mean, they might think they're cool. I've never actually bought them comic books. He had heard from John, like I did the Punks comic thing, which is just all digital for now. So I was like, yeah, maybe. I was like, well, are you sure they're not worth like a bunch of money? He's like, yeah, I have a bunch of comics back at home. They might be, but it's cool. I have a ton of cards too. He says this, he says, I actually have a Mickey Mantle rookie card, the 1952 Topps. It's card number 311, Mickey Mantle. He says it's worth like over $5 million. Like, this kid's like doing dehumidifying fan stuff in my house. So I asked him, he's like, oh, I got a picture. And he shows me, it's in like a certified case. And I'm like, man, okay. So I was like, have you tried to get it graded? And so for those that are at least familiar somewhat with the card business, you have to get something graded. You send it in to PSA or Beckett. PSA is usually preferred. But they've been so backed up in the last few years with this card boom that it takes months to get it back. Plus, when you have a card of potentially this much value, you don't want to just send it to PSA and hope for the best.
Never get that.
So
back.
he said anytime he's tried to like consider going into the office or trying to work something out, he's just heard horror stories of they'll replace it with a print that's not quite the same one. And it's happened. So he wants to be cautious. He just hasn't gone for it. He also said he's like, I don't have any money to get it graded. Now to get a card graded of that value costs like between $5,000 and $10,000. And I was like, damn it, I'll front this for you. Like we got to get this graded. I reached out to someone. I even posted it on Twitter, and I've had some other people I've been chatting with. Like, hey, the card convention in Chicago, the National, it starts tomorrow. And I was like, wait. And they're like, yeah, PSA grades them same day express, like in 2 hours. I can get you a representative, kind of like a security guy, because it's a card of this magnitude. Put you at the front of the line. We can get it done. Plus all the auction, like Golden and Heritage, like they're all there at the convention regardless. You can actually talk to them about selling it. So I got to meet up with this kid later, but I was like, I'll try to get his tickets. I haven't even told you this. I'm not sure if we're going to go one of these days this week, but you're going to have to take the show on by yourself. I'm not sure, but I'll tell Kevin, I'm like, look, this is a $5 million card potentially. If it's graded around an 8, they go 1 through 10. One sold for $5.2 million earlier this year. It was graded an 8. He thinks it's an 8 or better. He really does. And it does look like it's in really condition. He's like, yeah, I have a bunch of other cards too. He started listing them off like this kid. I guess his dad left him these cards. But he just like fell into them now. He says, I probably have like $10 million in cards. So if I can help him kind of orchestrate it, front all the money to get it graded, plane tickets, whatever. Anyway, it's a good proposal for me. It's good pub for just, the industry. And then this kid gets rich. So it'd be a fun story,
so
right?
my man just sitting on $10 million and because he loved doing his work.
I don't know if he loves it, but he literally is like, I just haven't had any money, like $5,000 or $10,000 for him up front to get it graded. Plus, he just hasn't trusted. You just don't want to mail it in.
No.
I've mailed in cards before to get them graded.
Yeah.
Like a Donovan Mitchell rookie prism, maybe that's worth a few $100. You mail it in, and like it doesn't really matter if it gets lost, whatever. A Mickey Mantle that's potentially graded 8. I mean, it's one of the most valuable cards of all time. Like you're just not mailing it in. You don't even, and this is the other thing, you can show up. Newport Beach has, just down the street basically has an office for PSA. It's one of, I think, 2 locations. You can go in there in person and drop it off, but then you leave it there and you hope for the best still.
No.
If you're there at the National Card Show, which coincidentally just happens to be this upcoming week in Chicago, you can just keep an eye on it the whole time. The 2 hours they're sitting there grading it, making decisions, and like it just won't leave anyone's sight. He gets it right back, and you have a fair assessment, and it's locked in. So I think we got to try to make this happen for this kid Cody. He's probably in his 20s, mid-20s or something. So could be a cool story. I'll keep everyone updated, but I'm kind of getting hyped. Although I'm not sure if I can really leave or not, but I got to go with him because he's kind of shy on the shy end, and I kind of know the rep and his security guy and his connection at PSA. So I might need an excuse to get out of one of these days this week, but we'll just fly to Chicago, get a $5 million card graded, fly back, and we'll keep doing it.
I don't think it's the shy factor. I think it's, hey, I could be a multimillionaire in a matter of moments.
I mean, that just doesn't happen very often, right? And he's in my house because I had this leak, which I might end up coming out ahead if he tips me a couple bucks on this deal, fronting it, because I had a leak that would normally cost me a few $1,000s. So somehow this might end up being good. So I'm in a good mood. It's Tuesday, so Qwan's in a good mood. And we're ready to talk sports betting. It's the Diamond games today and the ACC. So we're going to take your calls on the other side. We're going to take a break. It's 661-515-BETS. That's 661-515-2387. By the way, USA women's team, they won. Someone laid 30 on the show yesterday, 29.5. They barely won. They were losing. It was rough. They lose to Nigeria. We're going to talk a little Olympics with the men's and women's basketball teams as well. We'll talk to you soon. Oh, I am Preston Johnson. Welcome back, everybody. This is Last Word Cheetah. We're brought to you by Bets TV. Qwan said we have some callers. We had a few rings during the break. We will get to them, and I believe, at least not a semi-regular caller. I'm not sure if Andre's brand new, if he's a first-time caller or not, but we welcome in Andre from Massachusetts. Welcome to Last Word Cheetah. How you doing today?
Doing well. Thanks for taking the call. Saw you on Jason McIntyre, and that's how I got familiar, and appreciate what you do, and glad to know where the show is, and I'll be listening going forward.
Right on.
So glad to be here.
Thanks. Yeah, what do you got for us today?
It's about Team USA versus Iran, and this is actually something I got from J Mac. And just in terms of looking at this game, obviously they lost the game to France, and so they should be motivated. And the prospect of them just beating the brakes off of Iran, beating them by 30, 40, 50 points, something crazy, and just, is the over in this game something that is appealing, or people are kind of looking at, obviously, after the huge embarrassment in the first game?
So you're asking if it's more appealing potentially than like laying, let's see, the line's 39.5. It's gone down, by the way. It was 41.5 yesterday. We talked about it a little bit. It's down to 39.5. You're saying that you would prefer over 166.5 because let's say Iran actually is able to keep it somewhat close and they're scoring enough points too, then that probably means it goes over. Or there's the chance that USA just drops like 120 themselves and then you're cashing. I don't hate that, actually. I'm not running my personal model on the Olympics. I generally have numbers I can reference or refer to. I won't pretend to have numbers, though, for these games, but it is interesting. I think normally when you're analyzing betting, you hear about correlated plays or correlated sides and totals. Usually the dog is correlated with the under. This is one where when you have a massive dog like this, it's like if Iran's going to cover, then it's probably going to go over the total because they're able to score on Team USA. So I don't hate it. Have you bet it yet?
I have not, but it's something I'm just kind of looking at. I'm a basketball person, and I'm still trying to get the shame off that first game against France, out of my system. And but it's just intriguing. They need a resounding performance. This might be, just to show the world that they're serious and they can possibly win the gold. And so that's why this kind of came to my attention. Let
me ask you a question, if you don't mind. I'll put you on the spot a little bit. Yesterday there were some rumblings. This is just kind of a general macro question about Team USA and the basketball team. They were saying, hey, we're kind of fed up with this offense Greg Popovich is trying to run. Like, they threw him under the bus. Like, they played one game that's mattered. They lose to France, and they're already making excuses and saying it's on Popovich and the offense is too old school. It's too much like the Spurs. That kind of bugged me. That was off-putting, I guess. It doesn't really bug me, but it wasn't like what I wanted to hear or see after your country loses that first game. What do you think really is going on there? Do the excuses worry you to some degree?
No, that's part and parcel of my thinking. I think that the writing has been on the wall. In my view, Popovich's record as head coach is basically 500 when you look at the seventh place finish in the World Championships in 2019. Going back to Coach K, when he took over the program in 2006, they lost in the World Championship final to Greece in 2006. Then Coach K won 76 straight games, 3 gold medals, 2 World Championships, and the dominance was there. And so what we're seeing now in terms of this grumbling, I think it's legitimate in terms of guys looking around and saying, listen, the last person that was here, we were rolling. It's not just that they won gold and they won these world championships. It was Team USA that we knew from the Dream Team. They were clobbering teams. And Popovich, I respect him. He's an Air Force guy. He obviously knows basketball. But Larry Brown knew basketball in 2004 and didn't connect with players, and we saw the results. And so that's what I kind of think is what's happening. You have this old sage, but they're not. It's not the same, and you can't just put talent on the floor and expect the results to work out well. There's not the same leadership that we had under Coach K, and they really do need to turn this around, or they're not going to win the gold medal A, and they might not even make the medal stand B. So I just think this Iran game is one where you have to be definitive and dominate. If it continues to be this in between stuff, there's no way that they're going to beat a team like Australia. Never, that's a solid team with 5 NBA guys. It's just not going to happen. So I believe those reports that you're hearing.
Right on. We appreciate the call, Andre. Do you want to lock in the over? We track callers' bets throughout the month. I know it's late in the month. You probably won't get first on our leaderboard, but it's worth a try. If you want, we can lock you in over 166.5.
You know something? You go ahead and lock me in because I think they're going to. I'm confident in that. So you can lock me in on that.
Nice, might as well. Cool, man. You enjoy your night and good luck.
Thanks for taking the call.
It is an interesting point. I'm sure we probably have a few more callers on hold. Not yet. All right, 661-515 bets. Tone, where are you? We've kind of seen the old school coach vibe in the NBA just for teams in the regular season. It hasn't worked out like the Bulls brought in the Michigan coach. Then you've seen some like old school type guys. Maybe Popovich is just kind of growing out of it, and these younger kids are just like, hey, we need someone else. Like it's possible. I am kind of surprised they keep going back to the Popovich well, to be completely honest. But I guess it's one of those things you got to respect. You just let him go as long as he wants to until he retires. But if it's a matter of coaching, my problem with that attitude is that it shouldn't matter who the coach is. Just try harder. Like, play good. Like, at some point, you're still the best players and team in the world. Like, it's still kind of, there's something this doesn't sit with me about it.
It's got to be the process, not to be cliche with Philly and everything. But like we said yesterday, it was like, hey, what you doing in the summer? You want to go play some basketball in Tokyo?
That's what it looks like, yeah. So that's not necessarily Popovich's fault, I guess, is what I'm
That was
saying.
a really good breakdown by Andre, though. It's one of our more informed callers.
I did not know they had won 76 straight under Krzyzewski. I know they had won the Golds, but 76 in a row. And then here we are. They've lost more games than they've won if you're counting the exhibition. All right, we got a few callers now. We'll welcome in. I'm not sure who's first, but just patch them in. Welcome to Last Word, Cheetah. Who are we talking to? Do we have somebody? Hello, we got you. How you doing?
What's up, Preston? It's Tone.
Hello, sir. Did you hear me at the beginning? I actually thought for a second that you won 4 of your 5 and that you only lost the Nationals, and I was mixing up who had what, and it turns out you weren't even close. But for a second, I thought you had only missed the 52-1 shot by 1 run. So I was kind of rooting for you. I at least was thinking about you at night while I, sit there all alone.
All right, don't get weird on me now. But thank you for that. Yeah, I mean, the Blue Jays blew it in the bottom 8 and then that walk-off. But, yeah, it wasn't close either way. And I want to start with, how are people actually pointing any finger towards whoever is coaching USA basketball? Like, they can't really be serious about, like, that last caller couldn't have been serious about blaming this on Popovich. Like,
no, he was just saying that he thinks that the reports of the players blaming it on Popovich are sound in the sense that they're real.
How about Kevin Durant is the biggest beta of all time? I mean, how can he not go out there and lead that team? Damian Lillard, stat guy. Can he win games? Can he impact the game that much? You tell me. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Look at that team. They should have no reason mopping up every single team. Like, how about you go out there, play a little bit of defense, not just say, all right, it's your turn, it's your turn, it's your turn. Play a team game of basketball and go win a fucking game.
Tone, we also remember language, but we had a caller a few weeks back. His name was Anthony. Maybe this is the problem. He said Chris Middleton is maybe a top 70 player in the NBA, extremely average. And now he's one of the top guys on this Team USA. So I kind of understand where you're coming from. Like Lillard, KD, yeah, like they should be winning. They have the talent. But also the caller made a pretty good point. Like Middleton's just an average player. And if he's one of your best 6 or 7 guys, then maybe that's the problem. Have you considered that?
Did Middleton start the last game? Did he start the last game?
He'd showed up like a day before. Him and Booker and Drew.
No. He stinks, okay? We know that. But the team is good enough to go out there and win. I mean, just ridiculous. Stop blaming Popovich. It could be anybody coaching. Like, how about you just point the finger at Kevin Durant? Say, how can you go out there and score 11 points if you think you're the best player in the world? I mean, show up, play, and you'll win.
We got to get Tone.
That simple. Effort.
Tone, we got to get you coaching. Huh? We got to get you coaching.
Yeah, that's like the third time I think that he's basically said, hey, I wish I was coaching something.
I would run through a wall if he told me to.
You would?
Yeah.
I love that. Love that about you, Qwan. Love that about you. Still don't know if I can trust you yet, but love that about you.
You can't. I'm telling you right now, you can't.
You have a 5-teamer for us today? Are you going 10-teamer? Where are we at?
You better keep an eye on that card. Qwan might be.
That's a good point. I was going to have the kid bring in
right.
his cards so we could go through them. Make sure Quan's out for the day.
A big dog 5-teamer. I need Nigeria minus maybe 4 and how many?
You're talking men's hoops,
Yeah,
Nigeria?
Nigeria.
They're laying 4.5 to Germany, yeah.
Yeah, big variance team. You tell them, Preston. All right, we need them. We need the Nationals money line. We need the Yankees money line. We need I shouldn't have bet against the wagon. We need the Red Sox money line. And last but not least, it's the Dodgers tonight. The Dodgers is the best bet of the night. There's just no doubt about it. Give me a righty against the Dodgers. Give me my boy Urias. Take him to the bank. Have a good day, gentlemen.
All right, hold on 1 second.
He hung up.
He did.
You're gonna
it's
have
all
to
good.
talk to him.
It's fine. I was just going to lock him in on his price. He said Yankees, right? I'm just making
Yankees
sure.
money line, Nats money line, Red Sox money line, Dodgers.
Oh, Red Sox is the one I'm missing. So plus 126 I can give him. Well, this would still put him in first regardless, but not quite as good as yesterday. It's 39-1. We'll give him plus 3,900. So
he's going to win.
It's easy. I mean, he might hit one of these last couple of days before the month ends. It's possible. Then everyone else will have to go crazy. It's not very likely. That's why it's a 39-1 shot. I will say this. It's interesting. He does like the Dodgers a lot. If he had just been picking his favorite bet in game every day as opposed to trying to parlay over and over and over he's really been doing this now for 2 weeks. There's a chance he would be up a couple units like in the mix, but now he's just so far down there.
Sometimes you just got to get greedy and try to slaughter people. This is what Kevin Durant needs to do. He needs to show up, do some 5-team parlays and take advantage of all of these other callers.
You want Durant betting 5-teamers in Tokyo on Olympic events like artistic rowing or whatever they have?
We got another caller.
All right, we'll bring him in. Welcome to Last Word, Cheetah. How you doing today?
Preston.
That name that voice sounds a little familiar, but I don't know off the top of my head who this is.
This is the one who gambles with children.
That was one of my favorite segments we've ever done. I was punching it, tweeting it out. I retweeted today the video, the clips. They were perfect. But Carlos, we're still trying to find you a win. It has been a while.
I know, man. It's crazy.
I asked around my church. There are no 16-year-olds that are willing to take your action today. But you could go to the MLB Diamond. You could go Olympics. Tell us what you like. What is speaking to you?
Well, I'm definitely going baseball. We're going to do a 3-teamer. We're going to cut it down a little bit. We got Toronto run line, Chicago run line, and Houston run line.
All right, so Toronto run line, they're a pretty big favorite. I can give you plus 110 on that. You said Houston run line and White Sox run line?
Correct.
All right, let me plug in these prices. I just switch over on my screen to the run line prices. Chicago's also slight dog, plus 105 on the run line since they're a bigger favorite against KC. And then Houston, plus 100. So you're basically, you love the favorites tonight, except you're trying to get the plus money, so you're going run line on all of them. I can give you plus 761. So a little over 7.5 to 1.
Okay.
Tell us real quick, before you hang up, why the 3 biggest favorites on the board?
What's my mantra? They're due.
The Astros did blow like a 7 or 8 run lead, I think I saw, to Seattle. So maybe they are due. Man, Carlos, I wish you luck. And I'll tell you, if there's one thing for certain, you are due. Carlos, you are due. So I hope you get a W. Put yourself back in the mix. Good luck tonight, brother.
Thank you, sir.
Take care. We got to take a break, I think, right? All right, we'll take a break. Did we have someone that's on hold? All right, cool. We'll hit you on the other side. Stay tuned. Stay on the line. It'll be like 2 minutes. 661-515-BETS. We'll be back shortly. Stay tuned. Welcome back, everybody. I know, Ty, we're waiting. We have you on the line. I'm trying to tweet something real quick. Someone earlier, because I did tweet about this, the Flood turning Mickey Mantle card. I broke it down in our intro, so I'm going to tweet out the link one more time so people can watch it back if they prefer. I talked to someone was like, oh, nice humble brag or whatever. Look, it's not my card. I just talked about it at the beginning of this show. It's Cody's. I'm trying to help the kid out, trying to get him paid. All right. I got the link. It's tweeted now. We're safe. We're good. Ty, you ready to come on? Is he good? Pass him through. Welcome to Last Word, Cheetah. You are still on top. I believe Qwan can hit the graphic for people to view. You are about 0.22 ahead of Sarab on the leaderboard after he hit that parlay Thursday, I believe it was, to jump into the mix. Patrick's fallen off a little bit. I think he's lost 3 of 4, 4 of 5, although he was kind of in that range. Do you have something that you want to bet for today? Are you going to hold back? I mean, the fact you're calling, I know you've kind of just wanted to assess what other people are doing. You must love whatever it is today that you're calling in to lock in.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Olympic swimming, that an event that goes off tonight.
That's what I was thinking. All right, what do you got?
I'm going to the women's 200 freestyle, and I'm taking Ariarne Titmus of Australia to win.
Wait a second. Oh, no, that's butterfly. 200 women's, it's 1,500 freestyle or the 200?
200.
Okay, minus 270. All right, you're laying, let's see. So you need that. It's like a 71% break-even percentage or something? No, it's even higher.
Yeah.
It's like 73%. So this is risky. So I want you to break this down for us a little bit. You're sitting on top of the leaderboard. You're risking 2.7 units. I mean, you would fall quite a bit below Sarab if this loses. So I'm not following women's 200-meter freestyle Olympic podcasts right now, but tell us why. This must be like a lock. Like, well, what's going on here?
I think she should be a bigger favorite, and I think there are other events. I don't even know with certainty if Katie Ledecky, the U.S. swimmer who's predicted or second on the odds boards, I believe she has other events either tonight or she is participating in more events of varying distances. And I just think that Titmus should be a bigger favorite. I also have thought about the fact that at some point this week I'm going to have to make a play, and I'd rather make one that I like than potentially call in and be down a little bit and have to make something to make up some ground as the week comes to a close. So I really like this one, and that's what I'm rolling with.
I like it. I mean, it takes to bet, period, to win some money. He's not worried about dropping back and losing potentially nearly 3 units on this. We'll give you the minus 270 price I quoted. But, that drops him down to about plus 5. So I like that he – part of it, he did break it down in Ty. We appreciate the call, man, because, like, he said, like, this other girl who's the second favorite, Katie Ledecky, the USA women's, she's doing like 1,500s or other 200-meter events, and this is Titmus's like sole life purpose is the 200-meter freestyle. She'll be more conditioned, most likely healthy, in better shape for this event specifically. That is, I guess, a pretty good handicap, but it also explains why she's such a big favorite. It is risky though, letting that all go.
Hey man, we're here to gamble. Our guys don't win. They don't care about anything but parlays and trying to shove thing in at the last minute.
Well, you're right. I mean, because so many people feel like they're so far behind. They've been firing parlays for the last week,
but not
6-7 days. But this is actually, there's some game theory to this. He's like, I want to get another win and try to, enlarge that discrepancy or that lead. But I'm willing to risk a pretty big favorite. So rather than,
I don't think Sarab's going to call in either.
He can just let this go and see where he's at, because if he loses, he's one money line baseball dog away, like a plus 140 still catches him right back up. So
you get some distance and some comfort. But I don't think Sarab, he calls in very inconsistently.
Yeah,
There's no first quarter overs.
He has no more NBA first quarter overs. Yeah, he went on a huge run for those of people that are not familiar or aware. Our friend Sarab, I think he won his first 6, and then he lost a couple at the end, but that put him in a good spot. And then he hit Pete Alonso at 5-1 in the home run derby. So that's essentially, and then a 2-team baseball parlay. So that's why he's up where he's at. Man, I got a bad feeling for Ty. You never, ever bet or react to feelings. Again, I'm not projecting women's 200-meter freestyle. I don't know other than what he relayed. But I just got this bad feeling about laying. Like, I've been in the lead in some contests before, and you want to just, like, make sure you get the win. And so you're like, well, let's go with the event that is most likely to give me a win. But you have to still account for the fact that if it loses, you're losing a lot more than if you were to pick a 50-50 type setup. I don't know. I just got a bad feeling. I can't tell you why. It makes sense. But if he's sitting +5 and Sarab's at +7.5, plus 6-7 or whatever it is, I'm going to feel bad. I don't know. I just got a weird feeling.
$700 in his grasp. He knows what
That's
he's
a free $700.
Yeah.
I don't blame him either. It's part of me is like, yeah, I respect it. It's good. I like the risk, but I don't know. I just got this weird feeling she's going to lose. Do we have anyone on hold, by the way? No, we're good. All right. Let's see. Should we just jump into ACC?
Yes.
All right. We can do it. For those that missed it yesterday, we broke down my top 3 teams in the ACC, which were Clemson, UNC, and Miami. I have UNC just slightly below Miami. The only bet that I thought was worth making relative to the market prices was the Miamis at 9.5. I know there's all the reports are smooth recovery with De'Aaron King, the offense year 2 with Brett Lashley. I understand, but this keeps coming back to me. When I was digging in on the defensive side of the ball, they lost 2 of the best edge rushers in the entire country, the entire ACC this year, and they ranked 10th in the conference alone in EPA per pass allowed when they didn't generate a pass rush. Now, they did pretty frequently last year because they had these 2 top-tier edge rushers, but now they're gone, and I'm not sure they're going to be able to necessarily duplicate that. So if the offense is similarly efficient as last year and the defense drops off, I'm not sure they're much better than they really were a year ago. Now, the point you're going to throw at me is, oh, well, King, maybe he's healthy all year. That's true. Also, I mean, he's relying on his legs a lot, and he's pretty vulnerable, and maybe he's not healthy all year. He's not back to where he was, and maybe he just re-injures something. I mean, that's a consideration, too. My numbers like the unders on the 9.5s. And I believe there's 9s that are plus money as well that I think is also okay. Prefer the 9.5 at, I think it was a minus 135 or 140. 140, I think, is what we quoted yesterday for Miami under 9.5. But yeah, that's it for those 3. But it's kind of interesting as a whole now going into the rest of these teams coming up in the ACC. The last 7 years, it's been, basically Clemson's dominated, but the Coastal Division has been 7 different schools have won the Coastal the last 7 years. So this year it's like, all right, who's it going to be? It's North Carolina or Miami a really high percentage of the time. It's pretty frequent. And then there's a pretty significant drop-off, in my opinion. But it's the conference, when we're looking at it from a macro view, I went through those 3 teams. Next up, and you can put up the graphic now that we have, is NC State, Vatech, and Wake Forest, which maybe surprises some people. Maybe it doesn't. Look, my priors still believe in Vatech to some degree and Justin Fuente. We'll see what happens there. I'm going to get into a little more of the details of each of these 3 teams, but I just wanted to kind of put into perspective that all of these teams, let me pull up here. So NC State, Virginia Tech, Wake Forest, Boston College, Pittsburgh, those 5 teams are all within 9 to 10 spots. I believe it looks like 10 spots in my ratings. Just those 5 teams. And then you drop down a few more spots, and you have Virginia, Florida State, and Louisville all within the next 10 spots. So this is a bunch of 8 teams. A bunch, I mean like a bucket of 8 teams, all really close to each other that I think there's not a ton to differentiate. So now you're looking at, specifics in their market season win total. Like, for example, I think it's interesting that NC State, by the way, all the 6s pretty much gone. There's a few left you can get juiced in that 140 range, but mostly 6.5 now. But that was one we've seen move up. But like NC State, I think should be the 4th best team in the conference. Yet their win total was 6, and you have other teams like Vatech and Wake Forest looking at 7s. Even I think Vatech, there are even some 7.5s, and some of the other schools. So it's a conference that there's going to be some team that breaks away from the pack, I think it can be NC State. I think they win 7 games on average. I have them winning 7+ often enough that the plus 105, 110 on the 6.5s is worthwhile. Or again, if you want to lay the juice on 6, I think that's okay too. The one key piece being that Drew Leary last year played quarterback before he got injured. He was actually, and again, I think I've gone on record telling people about how weird last college football season was for me, where I generally do really well early and fade off, and my volume goes down quite a bit back half of the season, and I usually more or less break even. Look, I started ice cold. I had 3 of my worst weeks I've ever had, like the first 7 weeks of the season, and I finished 23-4, and like it was reversed. So I'm not sure if COVID had anything to do with it, just random variance, whatever. But one thing I was right about early on was Drew Leary and NC State and what he was able to do under new offensive coordinator Tim Beck, I believe is his name. And they were taking shots downfield, and he was extremely accurate. Leary was under center. So NC State, I believe, not only was I right about them as a team in those games under Leary, but also their totals. I believe maybe all 4 of his starts went over the total, and so we were betting overs there. That's another thing to look at because defensively they're not going to be great. I think the offense will be similar to what we saw last year with Leary, but defensively they're going to have to try to step it up. But when you look at my grades, they're bottom, they're bottom 4 in the ACC secondary, bottom 4 defensive line. They have about an average linebacker group, so it's nothing to write home about. And I think that's ultimately the difference here for the Wolfpack is, can they make some sort of improvement with Tony Gibson defensively? They were good against the run, below average against the pass. They're in a conference with offenses and athletes, so that's where I'm kind of keying in now. That early on, if their defense, if it doesn't look like they've made any improvements and Leary's doing his thing, then this might be an overs team week to week. Those first few weeks again of the season, assuming full health for Leary, because he made a massive difference for them with Tim Beck at offensive coordinator. So again, I do like 6.5 some if you can get the plus money. I liked the 6s, but a lot of the value that did exist has been sucked out of the market the last couple of weeks. So congrats to those that did get the 6s on NC State at good prices. But this is a 7-win team in my opinion. And if you look at it compared now to our next team, Virginia Tech, who also has a market price of 7, even 7.5 some places. Look, I have NC State a few spots better than Virginia Tech. Now, I think some people even have Virginia Tech quite a bit lower. I know Phil Steele has them about 10 spots lower than I do. And I get it. I know there's kind of been this weird dynamic the last 2 years. I just still kind of keep going back to this with all of these previews we've done. Last year was weird. It just was. And I don't want to put too much stock into things that we saw last year and then just being wrong now that we have a normal-ish type of offseason and prep for these guys. And for a coach in Justin Fuente that I think was fantastic at Memphis, and I know they've had some weirdness with Justin Hamilton taking over as defensive coordinator, and they ranked 117th against the run in EPA last year. On that side, they were a little better against the pass. Here's the thing. They have a ton of weapons offensively. Hendon Hooker is over at Tennessee now, I believe, is where he transferred to. And someone that did the quarterback that played a few games last year was Braxton Burmeister, I believe is how you would say his name. He was pretty good. He didn't offer the same advantages that Hooker did on the ground, but he has a bigger arm. He's gone downfield. He took the shots that Hooker wouldn't take that at least opens things up for the offense. So I think there's more upside considering, he has Trey Turner and Tavion Robinson are 2 of the best wide receiver, one of the best duos in the ACC, if not the country. And then even their tight end, James Mitchell, ranked top 10 in PFF's tight end grades last year. So they have 3 weapons for them to just sling it. And I think the defense just can't be much worse. It can't. And I trust Fuente too much in what he's done, but he is on the hot seat. Again, now I'm higher, I think, relative to some other people in the market. But that being said, I wouldn't bet over 7. I think at 7.3 is my projection. It's close enough that I'm not going out of my way, especially when some of the market spots are 7.5 anyway. It's pretty much fair. So nothing there for me on the Hokies, but it is a team that I'm watching that maybe week to week will just be a lot better than at least other people I've talked to expect out of the gate. And they start, I think, September 3rd. Their first game is against UNC, which is a test right out of the get-go. Then they get Middle Tennessee State, and then it's West Virginia. They play Notre Dame after that. I mean, it's pretty brutal, too, out of the gate. Yeah, so Qwan said he didn't want to play. What was the best team you guys played? I know you played, was it Division 2? So you never played anyone in the FBS level. Did you ever play FCS schools?
We played Butler, like the non-Scholarly FBS. We Valpo. We beat Valpo. We beat Butler.
You beat those teams?
Yeah. They're non-Scholarly, so a bunch of walk-ons. Right. Butler beat us my senior year. That was horrible.
Like, who was the best team you guys played?
Grand Valley State, when they had like those 3 runs of national titles.
Got
my
it.
Junior year, they beat us 31-6. My senior year, they beat us 42-7.
Oh, geez. So it wasn't even that close to just the whole other level.
Our junior year, it was, I mean, we held on until
the late third quarter.
They didn't score in the second half. But Dan Scooter basically got to the NFL off of that game. They had like 10 sacks.
Jeez, in that game alone, you just couldn't even block them in the first half, and then they just felt bad and kind of took the foot off the pedal. Yeah,
I hate Chuck. Chuck Martin hates me. I hate Chuck Martin.
All right, next up, Wake Forest. I'm around market, so I'm not going to spend a ton of time on Wake. I don't think there's anything worth betting in the end. I'm a little under 7, but they have, similar to Vatech, I think one of the best receiving corps in the entire country, at least in the ACC alone. I believe Jaquarl Roberson is how you say his name. He ranked behind only Devonta Smith in receiving grades from PFF last year. So he was the second best receiver in the entire country. And they have someone who I think's been, I swear, has been a quarterback for 6 years. I know he broke his leg a few years ago and he missed the season. He probably got some sort of extra gray medical shirt of some sort. But Sam Hartman, he flew a little bit under the radar last year, I guess, but he was really good 2 years prior to that. Then Newman came in, was able to kind of do the kind of run the ball a little bit thing, Cam Newton-esque. But now Hartman's back in it. He just slings it, and he's pretty efficient, and he has Roberson. And if they're able to do those things offensively again, then I anticipate that they'll be around this range. I mean, I have them, again, ahead of teams like Boston College and Pittsburgh and Louisville, which maybe some others have Wake Forest lower. So, again, these are all packed in very closely, and I should have given some context. I apologize. When I look at NC State, and I said go down like 18 spots in my ratings, and you have 7 more ACC teams. We're talking NC State versus Louisville on a neutral. The spread's under a touchdown on a neutral field. So we're talking within 6.5 points, 8 ACC teams. This is the way my ranking shook out. So people are going to say, wow, Wake Forest ahead of Pittsburgh, BC, Louisville, or even Florida State, whatever, Virginia. It's not by a ton. So I'll just kind of, save my butt now and mention that. But I just think it's an interesting, there's not another conference that I think has this big of a group all kind of packed into one spot. And Wake should be good. I'll say this. Offensively, if Hartman's able to do his thing, they have one of the worst pass rushes in the country. They'll be one of the worst in the ACC there. But they also have one of the best secondaries, which you don't normally expect defensively from Wake Forest. So what's nice about PFF grades is they're trying to take into account actual situations in plays. And when you have a pass rush, obviously the secondary looks really good. But they're trying to assess then, in this particular situation when there was no pass rush, how do these cornerbacks and safeties grade out? And Wake Forest are really, really strong across the board. And so that's their strength defensively. If they can generate some sort of pass rush or just stop the run a little bit better, I believe they ranked, let me pull it up real quick. Yeah, they're outside the top 100. They're 103rd against the run in EPA allowed.
Oh, God.
So with that secondary, I think if they can at least just get stronger up front, then there's upside for this team. I certainly wouldn't be betting under 7, but I can see why some people would say, hey, maybe the Demon Deacons have this outside shot to sort of make a run. Look, I still think the next tier above them is a lot better, but within this pack of 8 teams, like Wake Forest could absolutely kind of end up being the 4th best team in the conference. Wouldn't surprise me. Again, it's going to come down to the defense. Insane. I love rattling out all those things, but yeah, you're looking at me.
To be a good secondary and just get gashed in the run like that, I'd be irate.
That's annoying, right?
Yeah. Like
I never really considered that. It's like, wow, do you know off the top of your head what's like average like press coverage, like time before throw as like a defensive back?
I think like you thinking 3-step, 5-step. You're trying to cover for 5 to 7 seconds.
Probably even less than that most times.
Yeah.
So if you're like elite with those first 3 to 5 seconds, but then you just keep getting, hit finally because you don't get no pass rush, the plays break down, the routes are changing up. Like it is annoying, which is why I thought it was worth bringing up the context of the plays that the PFF grades are looking at by position. But ultimately, it's like just get a dang pass rush, and that would help the whole world. And on top of that, it's like, okay, well, when the other team runs the ball, we also need to get stops. But Wake Forest were in some games like UNC and Sam Howell. It was like 48, 45. It might have even gone into OT and gone into the 50s. Let me just look that up real quick.
If you're getting hit, I got hit with like a double move at like 20 yards down the field. So that's that's not good on the pass rush. Also, probably a little bit on me too, but I'm going to.
I mean, the double move doesn't work if you just get to the quarterback, right? There's no time for it to develop. It's 59-53. Hartman threw for 429. 59-53. I mean, that's just the type. And UNC had that, two-headed monster under in the backfield. UNC, I remember. This is why I remembered it. They scored 28 in the fourth quarter. They won the fourth quarter 28-8 and won by 6. UNC was down like 16 or 17, it looks like, in the fourth and came back and won. Sam Howell threw for 550 and 6 TDs. Oh my gosh. All right, we're going to play a little box score. All right. Javonte Williams rushed 13 times for 101 yards. That's like 8 a carry. And then Michael Carter rushed for 16 times for 74. That's better. But as a team,
that's not good.
It's 29 carries for almost 200 yards.
Yeah.
Plus Howell throws for 550 and gets
good Lord
6 TDs. That was that game.
And they were up?
No, Wake was up. Yeah. This like seemed to 28 in the fourth. I'm pretty sure it cost people some money. I remember this happening.
Run game, Wake.
What's interesting is like the run game was working early, and it looked like so they scored. UNC did 17 in the first quarter. They're up 17-14, 31 points in the first quarter. Then they only scored 2 touchdowns the next 2 quarters, so maybe they started throwing more often, or the run game, maybe Wake settled in and adjusted, and then Howell just went nuts in the fourth quarter. 4 TDs. They end up winning at the buzzer, essentially. Man, that was a crazy game. Anyways, that's basically the story of Wake Forest. What I'm getting at is like your defense just can't do that if you're going to want to be at least somewhat in the contention, in the mix, competent. All great words. All right, we had no callers call in during that, right? We have about 6 minutes left, 4 minutes left. All that math during the breakdowns. Yeah, I'll say it's 5. It's closer to 5. We're not running anything at the end. Or you want to do that promo for MMA guys from yesterday? We can run it one more time tonight. We might as well. For those that aren't aware, Mad Lab, his boy Anthony, it's a new show that'll be starting breaking down UFC and stuff here at the Bets TV studios. We'll run a little promo before we break after the show today. But a couple more minutes if anyone wants to get a call in, 661-515-BETS. Sarab, if you're listening, not sure if you heard, but Ty laid -270 with an Olympic swimmer in the 200-meter freestyle. It's either going to look really good for you or you're going to be over a game behind. So you'll have some work to do. You'll have to do some catch-up. Anything you like on the diamond today? I know you don't really look at baseball very often, but that Dodgers, ever since Tone's really, I was thinking it through. He's never been more sure about one play and confident about one play, like authentically, than he was about the Dodgers. And it was the 5th leg of a 5-teamer that's just probably going to lose, right?
Yeah.
But so part of me just is like, man, he's wasting like a W here. You can get -114, -115. Which, by the way, has been bet down, the early market sentiment bet on the Giants and Webb. I don't know. Dodgers just feels like a lock now to me for some reason, and not the swimmer. Sorry, Ty. I don't know why. I got a bad feeling for you. By the way,
risky, man. That's why he's taking a bit. Like with I told you, Sarah's probably not going to call in unless Ty hits. Sarah plays it. I think like the end of last month, he played it real slow too. Like he took a couple days off. And then he
ended up chopping it. Yeah, it's true. By the way, remember Was it Patrick? He called in. He talked about your Tigers.
We had a call.
We got one. All right, we'll fit it in. But I was just going to say the Tigers have now lost 4 straight since they were doing well. They lost again.
Patrick.
All right, who we have coming on?
Friend Bob.
Bob? Hey, Bob, you fit it in just in time. We got 2 minutes. What do you have for us?
Yeah, no, I've been scrambling. My brother just got evacuated from his house because of forest fire, so I'm
geez.
I hosted him for a while. Yeah, it's crazy.
Good luck.
So,
what is he like today?
I will just throw. Yeah, that's crazy. Oh, let's go with Aaron Judge to hit a home run in his first game back.
Mm.
And
all right.
just because I'm desperate, I'm just going to throw the Dodgers win in there too.
Okay. Do you have a price for Judge in front of you that you looked at?
Not at all. I didn't have any time. I said, I just turned this on, and I thought, I might as well call and talk to my friends Qwan and Preston.
Okay, hold on.
Always a pleasure.
2 hit a home run. Oh, wow. They're not even listing him at FanDuel, probably because they hadn't put it up, and he's first game back.
Yeah. Shoot. He's in the starting lineup, I just saw, but.
So how about this? I'll give you the worst price since he would be up there with Stanton and Sanchez, plus 280. And then you want to go Dodgers because I hope I didn't talk you into that, but I was thinking about it. So plus 280, minus 115. Let me lock you in real quick. Minus 115. Parlay. I had closed my parlay calculator. All right. 6-1. Give you 6-1 on that.
Wow.
Not bad, but you need
like
Judge to hit one out.
Yeah, there we go. All right,
hey, tell your brother and company over there we wish them well. Good luck. You're doing good. We'll talk to you tomorrow, Bob.
All right, take care.
You too. We got time to run the promo? Nope. All right. That's all good. We got a call from Bob, and he's doing good deeds, helping out his family. I didn't realize there were fires up there. He's in the Northwest. He's the one that used to call and bet the Mariners every day and lose. So I didn't know there's probably something going on. I'll have to dig into it. But down here in California, we have fire issues all the time. And I feel for you, brother. Good luck. Welcome back to the show. That music just gives me that. It's like music, show's starting, but we're actually wrapping up. Qwan, thanks for your help today. Thank you to the callers. We need a couple W's. I think you guys have lost 8 or 9 in a row. I have a good feeling about a few, an awful feeling about others, but we'll be back tomorrow either way at 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific. We'll break down more of the ACC, take more of your calls, and maybe some NFL. I'm not sure if Qwan's ready to drop his next video, but the Bengals was good. Check it out yesterday if you missed it. We'll talk to you then.